Let's just go down memory lane. Let's go, all of Donald Trump's lies during the presidency, right? Those are the lies that really matter. You're lying. You're the fucking president and you're lying? Why are you lying when you're the goddamn president? Now, he's going to end off with a lie, the big lie, right? He starts off with a lie. The inauguration was the biggest, and then he ends it off with a lie. The big lie. Starts out the little lie, ends with the big lie. So, here's the big lie. Are you ready?
This is a fraud on the American public.
Now, he's going to say he won. If this was a fraud on the American public, then how did you win? How did you win? It was a fraud on the American public because it sounded like you're going to say that you lost, but you can't tell your own supporters that you lost because the whole point of the art of the deal, what Donald Trump does is he tells people what they want to hear. He's a salesperson. He's a carnival barker. He tells people what they want to hear. He tells people what they want to hear, and they didn't want to hear that he lost. So he says that he begins off with that it's a fraudulent, the biggest fraud ever, the biggest fraud in the history of frauds. Okay?
This is an embarrassment to our country.
The biggest frauds ever and biggest embarrassment.
We were getting ready to win this election.
We were getting ready to win this election. The hare almost won the election. The tortoise won the thing. Frankly, the biggest fraud ever, right? The hare, you took a nap. You took a fucking nap right at the goddamn end, and the goddamn tortoise beat you. Okay?
Frankly, we did win this election.
Frankly, we did win this election. That does not compute with any of the shit that you just said. Everything that he just said, you'd have to ignore everything that he said up until that point. You're like, no, it can't be. No, it can't be. No, it can't be. Well, we won. Oh, whew. Reminds me of The Simpsons when you had the mafia boss guy had, a body bag, right? Looked like he killed somebody, put the body in a bag, and he was dragging it, and the cop says, hey, Chief Wiggum goes up to the mafia guy and says, what do you got in the bag? And the guy goes, leaves, or some shit like that, and then he walks away, and the other guy goes, I'm not for sure, Chief, but that looked like a dead body that was in that bag, and Chief Wiggum says, no, it was leaves. That's what the guy said, leaves. You gotta learn to listen, Lou. You got to learn to listen. Who are you going to believe, me or your own lying eyes, huh? Who are you going to believe? Donald Trump? You going to believe the goddamn polls? Are you going to believe the election? You going to believe what the election actually says? Are you actually going to believe reality and the truth, or are you going to believe Donald Trump's lies? Let's go back and review Donald Trump's lies. This is the night of the election. On the night of the election, Donald Trump says,
this is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election.
So this was an embarrassing fraud. This was an embarrassing fraud. We were getting ready to win the election. And frankly, we did win the election. No, you didn't. The hare, you were way in front. I guess he was saying in the beginning of the night, at 9 p.m. at night, when we had 10 states were in, between 10 and 20 states, I was leading. When the first 10 to 20 states first came in, yeah, but what happened after the 50th state came in, and then after we count all the fucking votes? And actually, none of the votes matter. It was the Electoral College. What did the Electoral College say? The Electoral College the same fraudulent? Oh, fuck. If this election is fraudulent, that means the one 4 years prior, that was a good election, right? That election was fine and dandy. The one that made him president, the one that didn't make him president, that's the fraudulent one.
This election, frankly, we did win this election.
Oh, we did win! This is a shameful fraud. This is a shameful fraud. We were almost ready to win, and frankly, we won the lottery. We're millionaires. We're millionaires now. We won the lottery. What, you're not going to believe? Why wouldn't you believe that? We're millionaires. We won. We played the lottery. We won. And what else? Let's see. So we're going to start, in the very beginning. In the very beginning, let's see, hours after he was just sworn in as president.
The crowd was massive. That was all the way back down to the Washington Monument. It looked like 1.5 million people in this network. And it showed an empty field. And it said we drew 250,000 people. Now, that's not bad, but it's a lie.
We need to weigh the costs and benefits of the deception.
The United States has not swapped boatloads of plane loads of American weapons for the return of American hostages, and we will not.
In looking at presidential candidates and trying
That was Ronald Reagan saying we did not exchange boatloads of weapons to get, in exchange for releasing our hostages. The whole Nicaragua, Iran-Contra scandal. So Ronald Reagan is lying about, Iran-Contra. I think eventually the line I remember about him saying was like, even though my heart believes I was telling the truth, it turns out that the facts and the evidence says that I'm a lying piece of shit. Why were you listening to your heart, Ronald Reagan? Why were you not listening to the facts and the evidence to begin with?
trying to judge.
And then how in the fuck did Ronald Reagan not know it was going on? My heart says I had nothing to do with it, but it turns out the facts and the evidence point out that I had everything to do with it.
Important to
I was in the middle of the whole thing. I'm the one that brokered the deal. I'm the one that, made sure I pointed out Pablo Escobar. I'm the one that got, what that guy, whatever.
This history in how other presidents have behaved, and you can make judgments about whether other presidents made serious mistakes.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
Secret reconnaissance of Russia by high-flying American U-2 jets ended when one was downed deep in Soviet territory.
But nevertheless, there's a difference between minor lies, shading truth, or misleading the country.
So you got Barry Seal, right? Barry Seal. He was, all right, so let's see. Let's go back to Donald.
The largest
Donald
audience to
Jefferson.
ever witness an inauguration, period.
Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts.
Alternative facts.
We built the greatest economy in the history of the world. Best unemployment numbers, best everything.
Best everything. Best universal health care system. Best free college system. Best family and medical leave.
And I gave you the biggest tax cut in the history of our country.
In the history of the country, this is a false claim, and Donald Trump has repeated it 294 times. The biggest tax cut in history. Apparently, Obama and Reagan, and there's a bunch of Truman. There's a bunch of tax cuts. Reagan and Obama had larger tax cuts. This is now this. So Donald Trump's tax cut was the 8th largest in history. So not the largest, the 8th largest. So frankly, we almost won, and frankly, we did come in 8th place when it comes to the largest tax cut. 8th place. So 8th place, that's basically number 1 anyways, isn't it? Frankly, this is the biggest fraud. This is shameful. This is fraudulent. This is ridiculous. I won the election. Wait a second. How come you said all those first things?
We took care of the VA with Veterans Choice, you saw.
He thought that he passed the Veterans Choice Act, which actually Obama passed the Veterans Choice Act, so here he is. We took care of the VA with Veterans Choice. You saw that?
What Obama passed was nothing.
Nothing. And he said about 200 times, and then Trump
the
said...
wall is being built, and we're doing 10 miles a week. It'll be completed very soon.
The wall will be completed very soon, but only 40 new miles. Only 40 new miles of wall has been built, where no barrier existed previously.
So we're going to Texas. We're going to the southern border. As you know, we've completed the wall. They may want to expand it. And Mexico is paying for the wall, by the way, in case you had any questions.
So the wall is finished. We've declared victory on the wall. Is that what that is? Mission accomplished. The wall's been built.
They'll check facts with me, and I'm like 99% right. And they'll say, and therefore, he lied. You got $28 billion from China that went to our farmers because they targeted you. We tariffed China a lot of money, and they paid for it. You didn't pay. You know, the fake news likes to say, you don't pay. They paid.
Let's see here. Other lies. We got another 4 minutes of these lies. Let's go back to the historical lies, right? You got Bill Clinton. He did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. And then you had Baby Bush with the whole weapons of mass destruction. Then you had Papa Bush with, read my lips. No new taxes, raises taxes as soon as he gets in there. So, let's see, Reagan, and then, what are the other ones?
And something important about public
Vietnam.
We found the weapons of mass destruction.
Oh!
We found biological laboratories.
Well, I think when you compare Donald...
We found the weapons of mass destruction. We found biological laboratories. Wait, which is it? Did you find WMDs, or did you find, a science lab... a science lab at a fucking high school? Which is it? Which is it? Did you actually find the goddamn...
Donald Trump's deception with Hillary Clinton's deceptions, they're very different. Hillary seemed to be born out of the classic, what I would characterize as classic human lying. That is, protective deception. There's problematic information sitting in her head about emails or whatever, so she feels the best way to deal with it is to leave stuff out. Classic, just holding back. And then when pressed, kind of says some false things and kind of is ambiguous and stuff.
I have provided the department with all of the work-related emails that I had, and that's really what is at the core of any kind of effort to make sure that material is collected.
It's all the classic things that you and I and other people do in terms of why we deceive.
Clinton realizes that there's a reality, and she tries to deny it sometimes. But when pressed...
and the truth has a way to make itself known. Gravity works whether you believe in it or not.
The framers of the U.S. Constitution felt that the Constitution's structure itself, separation of powers, would save us from a lot of problems. But these parchment barriers cannot guarantee anything. You still have to have good citizens who will elect virtuous politicians to lead the country. And virtuous does not mean perfect.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
All right, back to Donald Trump's lying. We got 5,000 lies.
Easily. We won it by hundreds of thousands of votes.
Georgia, he lost Georgia by 12,000 votes.
Actually, I won Wisconsin.
Oh, he lied about that too. Nope, there's another lie. Whoop.
We will win this, and as far as I'm concerned, we already have won.
As far as I'm concerned, the hare beat the tortoise. As far as I'm concerned, frankly, this is a shameful fraud that's been perpetuated upon the American people. A shameful fraud, one of the worst, disgusting shame. The hare won the election. Frankly, the hare is the one that won the election. The hare almost won the election, and frankly, the hare did win the election. The hare did win the election, okay?
There's never been, ever before, an administration that's been so open and transparent. I was the most transparent and am transparent president in history.
persist, and Trump himself consistently refused to release
some
the
of the
tax
most
returns.
dishonest people in media are the so-called fact checkers.
At the Conservative CPAC conference this weekend, an eruption of lies about the insurrection, making it sound like a bedtime story rather than an event that
They say the noise causes cancer. You told me that one, okay?
Right, windmill. The noise from windmills causes cancer. The noise from windmill. Could the noise somehow hit your eardrum and cause? Noises do not cause cancer. No.
Went through the whole Mueller hoax. They did this big report. I was totally exonerated.
Did you actually totally exonerate the president?
No,
Your reports expressly states that it does not exonerate the president.
it does. My father is German, right? Born in a very wonderful place in Germany.
He thought his dad was born in Germany, but his father was actually born in New York. How do you get that messed up? Yeah, my pops. Oh, my pops born in Australia. Born in Australia. Oh, Arizona.
No religion, no anything. Hurt the Bible, hurt God. 12 years ago, I was named Man of the Year of Michigan. Can you believe it? Long before I thought about it.
He's gonna
Look
hurt
at
God.
what's happening last night in Sweden. Sweden. Who would believe this? Sweden.
Problem is, nothing much had happened in Sweden.
And they're something about raking the forest, if they would just rake the forest more.
Sweden is accusing Trump of fake news.
By the way, I brought back Big Ten football. It was me, and I'm very happy to do it. If you don't test, you don't have any cases. If we stop testing right now, we'd have very few cases, if any.
Oh, yeah. Forgot that. So, is Trump a genius for trying to downplay and lying to the American people for, 6 months to a year about COVID? And he had made the statement that the reason why some states and countries had higher testing numbers was because they was testing everybody. If you stop testing people, you don't find out about the shit. You don't know, then it's not a part of the statistical sample. What the fuck are you doing? So basically he was saying, stop counting the damn COVID cases. Stop counting shit. You know? You motherfucking counters. You counters are fucking up his lies. His fucking lies. He was lying. He was lying about COVID. And then he was sitting there talking about not doing the testing. Don't do the test. Because the more tests that you do, if you were to test everybody in America, that's going to increase the number of people that have COVID. Why? Because we started out with 0, and then we tested everybody, and now we found out that there's 1 million people. So, well, fuck, that's not going to look good. That's not going to look good. So Donald Trump's solution wasn't to go after COVID with the vaccine or whatever, but it was to go after, whether or not people knew about what the fuck was actually going on. Go after the actual knowledge about, COVID. No! Don't let them know about COVID.
This is going to go away without a vaccine. It's going to go away, and we're not going to see it again.
It did not go away without a vaccine. No, it did not. It didn't just disappear. It did not just up and
Donald
disappear.
Trump tells more lies and falsehoods than any president in either party in history.
He does tell a lot, like 5,000 lies, or
That's always very truthful. Because if I'm a little bit off, they call me a liar. They'll say he gets a Pinocchio, the stupid Washington Post. Oh boy, these people are bad. What a group of people we have. What a group of dishonest scum we have, I'm telling you. So many lies, so many fabrications.
injured law enforcement.
So they're saying now that Donald Trump told 12 lies about the January 6th thing, July 12th. This is not a month ago. A month ago, motherfucker is still lying, right? I guess once you've told, 2,000, 5,000, once your entire life has been one big fucking lie, what's another little
Shows
one
the
or two.
foundations of democracy, literally. Lies. Repeated, aggressive, intentional, dangerous lies. CNN's Marshall Cohen, who reads through court documents involving every suspect in the Capitol attack, pointed out 12 lies that the former president told in his Fox News interview on Sunday, all, of course, enabled by the host. Here's lie number 1.
They asked me if I'd speak, and I did, and it was a very mild-mannered speech.
A speech to push his election lie, which he teased and promoted, which was anything but mild.
We fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
And then lie number 2.
They just came out with a report in Congress, and they didn't mention my name, literally.
Wrong. The report references tweets and other statements from the then president, including the entire transcript of his speech from that day. Plus, Senate Republicans voted against an independent investigation into the insurrection and its origins. Lie number 3.
The reason, in my opinion, you had over 1 million people there, which the press doesn't like to report at all, because it shows too much activity, too much spirit and faith and love. There was such love at that rally. You had over 1 million people there.
That one is a whopper. A final count is hard to come by, but organizers permitted the event for about 30,000, which is far fewer than 1,970,000 fewer to be sure.
At least 1 million people are there. Be serious. 30,000.
I can't believe that, Daniel.
Look like 1 million.
Sure. Daniel.
30,000. You know, they're both. I couldn't talk to everybody. I couldn't talk to each individual person.
I'm not
Couldn't give them all a T-shirt.
When you want the real deal, like a good
30,000, million. What's the difference?
The president, by the way,
970,000.
reached a major milestone yesterday, and I don't feel like this has gotten enough attention.
We'll listen to this a little bit more, but I want to go more into this recent one. January 6th is fucking terrible.
They were peaceful people. These were great people. The crowd was unbelievable.
Peaceful except for all of the violence, the blood, the assaults, the beatings, and the destruction.
They're peaceful. A lot of violence. We're seeing more violence, pepper spray, dragging people, attacking, pushing, falling down, kicking.
All right, lie number 5, involving Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
Bodies falling, pushing, gates are pushing.
I had suggested to the Secretary of Defense perhaps we should have 10,000 National Guardsmen standing by. And he reported that, as you know. We should have. And he was turned down. I said, it's subject to Congress. You know, they run it. Nancy Pelosi runs it.
So she does not control the D.C. National Guard. That would be the President and the Secretary of Defense. Lie number 6.
There were no guns whatsoever, and yet they have people still in jail. There were no guns. There were no guns.
There were guns, along with other weapons from bear spray to baseball bats to tasers. And it's impossible to know how many rioters were armed since most were allowed to walk away from the scene unchecked and unsearched. Lie number 7.
By the way, while you're at it, who shot Ashley Babbitt? Why are they keeping that secret? Who was the person that shot an innocent, wonderful, incredible woman?
Again, Marshall Cohen, who pours through all these court documents, that notes, while tragic, Ashley Babbitt was committing a crime when she was killed. Trump is also using her death to promote baseless conspiracies about it, even insinuating that Democrats are responsible. Line number 8.
Who was the person that shot an innocent, wonderful, incredible woman, a military woman, right in the head, and there's no repercussions?
Just to be clear here, Babbitt was shot in the left shoulder. She was not shot in the head. Lie number 9.
You have people with no guns that walk down, and frankly, the doors were open.
Now, frankly, a lot of doors and even some windows were forced open after a stream of violent insurrectionists battled police officers.
lie number 10.
There was also a love fest between the police, the Capitol Police, and the people that walked down to the Capitol.
So this is the love fest of which he is speaking. Lie number 11 involves the evidence that we are seeing.
They have hundreds of hours of tape, and they're not releasing the tape. They ought to release the tape to see what really happened.
So first of all, the tapes are hardly an exoneration of his supporters. In fact, they're at the center of the cases against them. Also, a major reason we're seeing the tapes slowly but surely is because CNN and the rest of the media are demanding it from the courts. And finally, lie number 12.
They have people who walk with no guns, with no nothing. They're currently incarcerated. There's large numbers of them, and it's not right. And they're military people, and they're police officers, and they're construction workers, and they're tremendous, in many cases, tremendous people. Tremendous.
Trump told his 2,000th lie since taking office.
2018,
everybody.
2,000 lies. 11 months. Lie 2K. Happy Lie 2K.
He's averaging 5.6 false claims a day, which is impressive considering the fact he's only working about 2.6 hours a day. He really types in. And all the while that he's lying, he...
Believe me.
Tonight, we're going to look back at
Very few people.
Donald Trump makes Tricky Dick look like Honest Abe.
I never met Putin. I don't know who put in this. He said one nice thing about me. He said I'm a genius.
He is the greatest liar of all time.
C-SPAN presents Pants of Fire. Donald Trump puts his hand on the Bible and begins a historic journey to 2,000 lies.
God looked down and he said, we're not going to let it rain on your speech.
And Trump comes roaring out of the gate. He lies about the rain, the crowd, his Time magazine cover, his victory margin.
I guess it was the biggest electoral college win since Ronald Reagan.
This is week 1. I said he cannot sustain this pace.
But Trump was just getting started. By March, he had amassed 4 times as many lies as any president had in 2 terms.
You look at what's happening last night in Sweden.
Sweden. That was a classic. Only Trump could have lied that lie.
You know, the Cuban Americans had 84% of that vote.
So many great lies. I mean, Obama's wiretap.
You saw what happened with surveillance.
But you stand by that claim about
I
him?
don't stand by anything. I just, you can take it the way you want.
He even lied about lying.
I think one of the greatest of all times I've come up with is fake. I guess other people have used it perhaps over the years, but I've never noticed it.
And then there was Twitter. Game changer.
Twitter proved to be a critical platform as Trump continued past 750 lies, finally hitting 1,000 lies in August of his first year.
We've signed more bills, and I'm talking about through the legislature, than any president ever. For a while, Harry Truman had us.
His PolitiFact numbers were off the charts. It was unheard of.
At that point, I think he knew it was in the bag. But he didn't let up. If anything, he doubled down.
Man, Jimmy Kimmel.
In the White House. It didn't exist, okay? It's in his imagination.
After a long, arduous road, Trump achieved the impossible. His 2,000th lie in office.
We could build the wall in 1 year, and we could build it for much less money than what they're talking about.
What can you compare it to? Michael Phelps in 2008, Roger Bannister running the 4-minute mile, a young Tiger Woods? It's unfathomable.
He's got 3 more years, or maybe even 7.